It is back on the road for the Milwaukee Brewers, another three-city road trip, and it begins on the south side of Chicago as the Brew Crew gets back into American League competition. 3 with the White Sox and 2 with the Cleveland Indians coming up in a few days. What a homestand it was for the Brew Crew. 8 wins in 10 games, a sweep of the Diamondbacks, 3 out of 4 against the Mets, and 2 out of 3 against the St. Louis Cardinals. Christian Yelich had quite the month of May, and you could say that about any number of Brewers, as the ball club had quite the month of May, trying to extend that now as we turn the calendar to June. Good evening from Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minnaert is our reporter, and it was a great month, Rock, where the Brewers did just about everything at a very high level.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is what Craig Counsell thought he was going to get from this team out of spring training. The one thing that really improved was the defense for this Milwaukee Brewers ball club. 21 errors first 19 games, but since that time, things have gone very well. Fielding percentage very good, almost 990. The home runs came, and but what I think that Craig Counsell was most happy about, runners in scoring position numbers really climbed almost at a little over 240, the batting average in that case. Had a great homestand in that regard. Pitching has been very good. Bullpen continues to shine, and it's good to have the closer back. Corey Knebel nailed down a save a couple of days ago. You can see what the Brewers have been able to do as of late. Second best record in all of baseball. Great stuff for this Brewers ball club.
You see at the bottom of that graphic, they have not lost consecutive games since their trip to the north side of Chicago more than 1 month ago. Orlando Arcia trying to get things squared away. It was a short stay in the minor leagues, but his trip back to the big club was very productive. Game-winning RBI. Sophia Minnaert will have more on Orlando Arcia as we get you ready for first pitch.
Is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. Voted best, rated best. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. By Miller Lite. Great taste and only 96 calories. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. The calendar turns to June, and the Brewers are 15 games above 500. A look at tonight's starters in the start of a 3-game interleague matchup between the Brewers and the White Sox. For the Crew, it'll be Chase Anderson with a 4-3 record, a 4.42 earned run average, and he and the Brewers will face the left-hander Hector Santiago with a 1-2 record and a 4.87 ERA. Good evening, everyone. Sophia Minard here at Guaranteed Rate Field on the south side of Chicago, and the Brewers are coming off of their best month in franchise history. They won 19 games in the month of May, and they did it without losing back-to-back games. Now, they won Wednesday's series finale and the finish of a 10-game homestand thanks to an unlikely hero. Orlando Arcia had just been called up after a short stint in AAA with Colorado Springs, taking the place of Tyler Saladino, who went on the disabled list. And all Arcia did was deliver a first-pitch RBI single to break the tie in the 7th. We spoke with Arcia about what it meant to contribute in his first game back with the big leagues.
Mira, desde que llegué de viaje me metí al cage con Jason a prepararme de una vez para cualquier situación y me tocó ese y gracias a Dios salió el hit.
I asked Orlando just what it meant to him to come through with that game-winning hit after being called back up in Wednesday's game. And he said that as soon as he came back from the road trip and was brought back to the team, he said he went right into the cage with assistant hitting coach Jason Lane just to prepare himself for whatever situation. He said fortunately he had that opportunity and was excited to come up with that game-winning hit. Orlando Arcia back at shortstop. The Brewers had to make another roster move here this afternoon. Zach Davies going back on the 10-day disabled list. Just some continued inflammation in that right rotator cuff. He missed about 3 weeks earlier in the month of May, so Davies on the 10-day DL. They have called up Ji-Man Choi for his third stint with the team. We saw him last against the Twins, so Counsell said he'll use him, the left-hander, as both a first baseman and a designated hitter. He starts the game on the bench here tonight. But for the Brewers, they look to continue their success on the road. They're coming off of their best month of the season, 19 wins in May, and they've had some good defense along the way. Everything clicking for the Crew. The first pitch coming up next.
South side of Chicago, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago White Sox. Guaranteed Rate Field here in Chicago, where the locals can say they enjoyed summer. It's a little chilly here tonight as Craig Counsell's team starts this 3-city 8-game road trip. 3 here in Chicago, 2 in Cleveland, and then it's on to Philadelphia Starting next Friday night, here is Council's lineup presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Lorenzo Cain at the top, followed by Christian Yelich and Ryan Braun back in the more familiar 3-hole for Brawny. Jesus Aguilar his cleanup. Travis Shaw 5th. Domingo Santana, Hernan Perez, Manny Pena, and Orlando Arcia rounding out the lineup. American League Park, Jesus is the DH here tonight, and that's the lineup that will face Hector Santiago.
Yeah, Santiago, a swingman for this pitching staff in Chicago. He's made some starts. He's worked out of the bullpen. A veteran left-hander.
And we are ready to go. He starts Cain with a strike, and we are underway here in Chicago. Lorenzo Cain with the biggest sample size against Santiago coming into this game. 22 at-bats against him with 7 hits. The Brewers look to continue here in the month of June what they accomplished in the month of May. Historic month of May it was. 19 wins for the Brew Crew, and Rock doing everything well here for Craig Counsell.
Yep, winning 6 consecutive series. Good opportunity here in the south side of Chicago. A struggling Chicago White Sox ball club. 16 wins on the season, the fewest in the major leagues.
A rebuild that they made no bones about going into the season, but it's been a little more difficult than maybe even they anticipated. They've had some injuries. Avi Garcia, Leure Garcia out with injuries among others. And Rick Renteria's club has been, it's a young group, and they have been hit with the hurts, and it has really affected this ball club as Cain lobs one foul down the right field line.
And Santiago has made a start against the Brewers, but it was back in 2016. Ain't no decision in that start. And he picked up a win his last time out against the Tigers in Detroit. He pitches much better on the road than he does here at home.
Yeah, at home his ERA is nearly 6. 2-2 pitch coming to Lorenzo Cain. And among the issues for Santiago has been command. He's walking about 4.5 hitters per 9 so far this season. Start number 6, as we mentioned. And Cain begins the night by drawing a walk.
Yeah, on cue. Yeah, walks and home runs allowed, the issue for Santiago.
And here is Christian Yelich, who had a big home run on Wednesday. The Brewers getting another comeback win against the St. Louis Cardinals after the Cardinals had scored a couple in the top of the 7th inning off of Jeremy Jeffress. Christian Yelich wasted no time tying up the ball game. What a month he had.
Yeah, came up with some huge hits. And Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich have been really the reason the Brewers offense has been so consistent.
It has been as advertised with those two getting on base and covering all kinds of ground in the outfield. Yelich in left field tonight. Ryan Braun playing first. Back to your point on Santiago. Yeah, the home run ball really has stung him in the last couple of outings specifically. All the runs coming courtesy of the long ball against the left-hander.
And both of the starting pitchers tonight. Chase Anderson has had an issue with homers as well.
A ball, a strike to Yelich as we get underway here in Chicago. Another 3-city trip here for the Brew Crew, but they continue to travel well. They came off that 8-2 homestand, but they were 7-3 on their most recent road trip that took them through Colorado, where they won 3 out of 4, and then 2 out of 3 in both Arizona as well as against the Twins at Target Field. They're 18-10 away from Miller Park. And a bouncing ball to Tim Anderson. There's Moncada for 1, and that's all they'll get. First out of the night as Cain is erased.
Anderson, good-looking young player. He's got a lot of pop from that shortstop position. Defense has not been very good for the Chicago White Sox. As you would imagine, it's a young club. They have 7 rookies on their 25-man roster.
This is a ball club that is following a model that has proven successful. It's painful. You know, the Astros, those years of all those, triple-digit losses, the Cubs went through it, and those are just a couple. It goes deeper than that. And the White Sox are trying to build it ground up as Ryan Braun steps to the plate. We mentioned Braun back in the 3 spot in the order a couple of games. Rock hitting 5th. He had it on his mind, as did his manager Craig Counsell. And they shuffle the lineup again with Aguilar hitting cleanup. But Braun with a pretty high baseball IQ. He knows what's going on with Aguilar and didn't want to move him.
Yeah, well, Craig Counsell is not afraid to move his guys around a little bit. You got Travis Shaw in the number 5 spot.
And there's a fly ball hit back into right center field, and it's 2-0 Brew Crew. Yeah, the 3-hole works fine for Braun as well, as the Brewers get the early jump.
Yeah, well, we mentioned home runs an issue for Santiago. Number 11 he's allowed. Now the Brewers get on the board first. Everybody knows how important that is for this team. Score first and hit a home run. That's a recipe for success for this guy, for these guys. And look at change up away, and Ryan Braun crushes it to the opposite field. Down on the field for batting practice, the ball was absolutely jumping out of this ballpark. Even though it was a little bit breezy and a little bit cool, it was still flying pretty good.
Yeah, in the mid-50s here by Lake Michigan. And for the first time this season, Braun has gone deep in the first inning as Jesus Aguilar steps to the plate. Yeah, you mentioned those numbers. It's really eye-popping now what the Brewers do when scoring first. 30-5 coming into this game, and they're 30-6 when they homer. There's a check swing. That ground ball gobbled up by Jose Abreu for out number 2. Two men out in the first for Travis Shaw. Braun going deep. 2-run homer to get things started tonight.
Yep, everything going well. All 3 aspects of the game have been cruising along pretty well. Month of May, 19 wins. Defense, guys are swinging the bat. Pitching continues to be good. Let's see what June holds for this club.
Yeah, if it's anything like May, the fun will continue. Craig Counsell mentioned it earlier in the week in his pregame chat with reporters. And he's been around long enough. He knows there will be some bumps along the way, but what this team has done so far has put it in position, his words now, to have some fun here this summer. 4-game lead for the Brewers in the NL Central. You glance at the standings now, you don't get too locked into it, but it's impressive what they've done.
And one of the milestones of the season, Memorial Day. Where are you in Memorial Day? The Brewers couldn't be in a better spot. Memorial Day, All-Star break, Labor Day, and when you want to be in first place is at the end of the year. None of that other stuff really matters.
Shaw with a ground ball. They were playing deep. Abreu to Santiago, not in time.
Yeah, not quite sure why you want to venture that far. Yeah, Abreu able to get to it, but very difficult throw, sidearm throw. And that'll be a base hit for Travis Shaw. He'll take it. That would have been an easy play for the second baseman. And look at the throw. He leads him pretty well. But Shaw just beats him to first base. Never does touch the bag, does the pitcher.
So this first inning extends to Domingo Santana. Good start here for the Crew, and a swing and a miss for Santana. Coming off a pretty nice homestand himself. 7 for 23. Homer drove in 5.
There's that off-speed pitch for Santiago. He's got a pretty good changeup. He'll throw a slider and a curveball every now and again, but it's basically 2 pitches, fastball change.
2 strikes to nothing to Santana. Yeah, ground ball to Tim Anderson. And that'll do it for the Brewers in the first, but a good start for Milwaukee as Chase Anderson will take them out with an early 2-0 lead, courtesy of Ryan Braun as he sends one out of here, his 6th of the year, and it gives the Brewers a 2-0 jump. Brewers off and running here in the top half of the first inning. And now the White Sox getting their first cuts as we will take a look at Rick Renteria's lineup here for Chicago, presented by Potawatomi. Yohan Moncada will lead things off. Yolmer Sanchez, Jose Abreu, Daniel Palka hits cleanup. Tim Anderson, Omar Narvaez, Adam Engel, Charlie Tilson, and Trace Thompson rounding out the order for the White Sox against the Brewers starter Chase Anderson. Moncada, one of these young talented players they are relying on in a big way. He came over in that Chris Sale trade with the Red Sox back in December of 2016. And for a team that's rebuilding, Rock, it starts with guys like Moncada.
Yeah, and you're going to have growing pains. We talked about the defense. You see Chase Anderson actually made his major league debut in his ballpark as a member of the Diamondbacks. That was back in 2014. A 5-1 victory in that start. Last time out, got roughed up a little bit by the Mets.
There was a day where the Brewers bats helped him out. He's pitched into some tough luck at times, but yeah, that last outing just 3 2/3. But Brewers put 17 on the board that day, so he's able to start from scratch here tonight.
Yeah, it's good that the offense is starting to pick up the pitching staff. Every now and again, you guys, they're not going to be able to hold him down too much, but Chase deserved that one. A little pick-me-up.
Payoff to Moncada, sharply hit and handled by Braun for out number 1.
Hey, let's check out our Pizza Ranch for the win. It's not so sweet at home for Santiago. 0-2 this year as a starter with a 1061 earned run average. 0-5 career for him. And a long ball has been a problem for both Santiago and Chase. Chase has given up 13, including 2 his last time out. And fastball location needs to be better for Chase tonight. A rebound start, hopefully for him. He's got to get to that changeup as well.
Faces Yolmer Sanchez, the third baseman. Tough road swing. We mentioned it's been a tough season for the White Sox. Sanchez did homer in their last game Wednesday against the Indians in Cleveland, a series that the Indians swept. They're playing pretty well right now. The Brewers will see Cleveland next Tuesday and Wednesday. And a fly ball out to right field. Room for Domingo Santana at the track for out number 2.
Didn't sound like he hit it all that well, right? Little on the end of the bat, and still took Santana to the warning track. We're talking about how well this ball was traveling here. They were talking about it around the batting cage. And, you know, you ask him, where's it traveling? Is it everywhere, line to line? It'll go.
The breeze off the lake. Ryan Braun showing that it has a little jump, but that first inning long ball that he hit. Here is Jose Abreu, who hits a lot of them. He is the familiar name probably to most. The Rookie of the Year in the American League 4 years ago. You can pencil him in for 30 homers and 100 RBIs.
Yep, 31 RBIs already. Yeah, the batting average is not all that great for the Chicago White Sox, but their slugging percentage is not bad. They can hit some homers. Extra base hits.
The ball is strike to Abreu. Orlando Arcia. Good start for Chase Anderson. A 1-2-3 inning. He needed 12 pitches to get through it. 2-0 Brew Crew after the first.
Yeah, the Brewers host the Cubs in a pivotal 3-game series at Miller Park, Monday, June 11th through Wednesday, the 13th. To view the complete series schedule and to reserve your seats, go to brewers.com/tickets.
Hernan Perez leading off here in the second inning. It's Perez, Pena, and Arcia, 7, 8, and 9. Brewers getting a Ryan Braun homer in the top half of the first. Facing the 30-year-old Hector Santiago. He was considered one of the last of the screwball pitchers. You don't really see that a whole lot anymore. Brock, you would know this better than I. I know you were a catcher, but the strain, right? You don't.
Right.
Pitchers don't throw it because of the arm strain, the elbow.
Kind of, you know, it is tough on the elbow, the forearm. You don't see that all that often anymore. So goes more with the changeup.
And he catches Hernan Perez looking for out number 1.
Well, let's check out the White Sox defense. Second most errors in the American League. They've committed 40 this year. They got Tilson, Engel, Thompson in the outfield, Sanchez, Anderson, Moncada, and Abreu from third to first, and Narvaez behind home plate. Your Chicago White Sox defense. Tim Anderson's committed 10 errors at short.
He committed a lot last year, more than any other shortstop, but still very gifted. They really love his athleticism. As Manny Pena steps to the plate. Ground ball to Abreu. Quickly 2 up, 2 down in the second.
Yeah, Santiago, this is his second stint with the White Sox. Signed with the White Sox back in '06. 30th rounder. Spent some time with the Angels, the Twins, back to the White Sox this year. A journeyman lefty.
And one who does not get a lot of ground balls, but he's recorded 4 ground ball outs here so far in this game, or obviously early on. And he is a fly ball pitcher. And Ryan Braun took advantage of that in the first inning. That first time around, he was a closer briefly with the White Sox, and actually for a time in 2012 gave way to Chris Sale for the closer's job. They didn't last very long. They got Sale back in the rotation. That's worked out pretty well in his career. And you're right, he has bounced around. The Twins last year, limited work because of injuries. One of the few veterans on a club that is very, very young.
Yep, a career 41 and 48 record. You can make a lot of money in this game if you're close to 500, which he's been able to do.
3 balls, 1 strike to Orlando Arcia, whose stay at AAA was brief. Came back up after the Tyler Saladino injury and made good on Wednesday with a game-winning RBI. Realistically, didn't have enough chance down there to get things straightened out, probably mechanically, but big confidence boost on Wednesday. Draws a walk with 2 outs in the second.
And he's come up with some big hits this year, early in the season, and on Wednesday.
Brewers had another comeback win on Wednesday afternoon. We mentioned the Yelich home run that tied the game in the 7th. And then Arcia, as he often does, jumps on the first pitch, Rock, and he delivers.
Yeah, I mean, he does get a lot of mileage out of that first pitch. And why not? What's the matter with first pitch? If you have that kind of success, you can see how excited he is. And right back to the big leagues, coming off the bench and coming up with a big hit.
Hit 277 last year, so he knows he has it in him. Draws a walk with 2 men out of the second inning for Lorenzo Cain.
And talking to Craig Counsell about Arcia getting sent down, it wasn't a matter of he wasn't doing what the Brewers were asking him to do. It wasn't one of those demotions to maybe to wake him up a little bit. That's the last thing that was on the Brewers' mind. It's just a matter of taking the pressure off of him, let him go down to AAA. Take some pitches, work on his stroke in a game situation, but that didn't last very long.
Yeah, 3 games, and then the injury to Saladino, the former Chicago White Sox, obviously, player. But yeah, we'll see if what happened on Wednesday gets him going a little bit at the plate.
I just picked up a rare walk. That's a good sign.
It's a very good sign. Although we should mention that one of those game-winning RBIs was a bases-loaded walk that he took right in St. Louis.
St. Louis, yeah. Greg Holland.
2 balls, no strikes to Lorenzo Cain. Talk about good homestands. He hit .333 on the just completed 10-game homestand. Continuing to do some very, very good work at the top of this Milwaukee batting order.
I just love to watch Lorenzo up at the plate. I mean, he really does wear his emotions on his sleeve. He doesn't get upset. But his facial expressions, his body language after a pitch like that he feels as though he should have hit hard somewhere. Where he takes a pitch that he thinks is a ball was called a strike.
Yes.
Always talking to himself up there.
2-2 pitch. And continues to work the at bat.
And another full count. We see a lot of those with Cain at the plate.
Brewers Player of the Month of May on deck. Full count to Kane. Arcia will be on the move.
A lot of contenders for that Player of the Month.
Boy, yeah, you know, hey, you could make an argument for Jesus Aguilar.
No kidding, right?
And you know what Kane continues to do both at the plate and in center field. Aguilar, that last interleague series was good for him. He had 4 home runs against the Twins at Target Field a couple weeks ago. Another extended at bat here for Lorenzo Cain. He has seen 16 pitches here so far and drawing a first inning walk, and extends this at bat in the second.
He's had some fastballs to hit in this at bat. Just a little behind it. Santiago, not a guy that throws hard, you know, 91, 92 maybe. Likes to live up in the strike zone and then, you know, gets you to chase the changeup.
Payoff pitch again. And another walk for Kane. That's the 3rd walk allowed by Santiago already. Mentioned command has been an issue, and it is an issue so far tonight. Command and the long ball, so we have seen that play out very early.
Yeah, walk a couple of guys and then give up a home run. Those are the killers. Those multi-run homers when you walking guys. 25 walks now and, you know, 45 innings of work.
Well, here's Yelich. He's homered 7 times. Number 7 coming Wednesday afternoon. Slider missing from Santiago. Yelich hit .366 in the homestand. Went deep a couple of times. Drove in 7. Hector Santiago is having a lot of trouble here early on, and will have a mound visit.
Yeah, all hands on deck on the mound, and it's having a difficult time.
Well, we mentioned Yelich, what he did throughout the month of May, and he closed it with a bang. Going deep. Powerball home run count number 7 for Yelich, banging it off the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the Cardinals bringing a lefty for him. First pitch, he knocks it out of the ballpark, and Tyler Lyons taken out right after that. He hits them all, lefties, righties. Doesn't matter when he's swinging it.
2 balls, no strikes.
Yeah, Yelich hitting .278 against left-handers. I'll take that. Lefty versus lefty.
No doubt. Average above 300 for Yelich. It's been right around there throughout the course of this season through the first third of it. 2-1 pitch. Well, they acquired him in the trade with the Marlins, and then they got Kane obviously the same day, the free agent signing. The excitement among the fan base was very evident, knowing what they could do at the top of the order. They've delivered. What they've done in the outfield, they have delivered as promised, maybe even better.
Yeah, have not disappointed.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and another full count. Hector Santiago needed all of 6 pitches to get the first 2 outs of the inning. Couple of walks. Full count to Yelich with Ryan Braun on deck. 3 straight full counts now as that pitch count approaching 50, and we are in inning number 2. Runners on the move, and the bases are loaded. 3 straight walks after Santiago retired the first 2.
And now he's got to deal with Ryan Braun. Don Cooper, pitching coach, on his way up. Boy, he's been around with the White Sox a long time.
And has his work cut out for him this season. As Santiago will be facing Braun, and he's already squared off against him tonight. And here's how the at-bat went. A no-doubter, 105 miles an hour.
Yeah, look at a change up that he waited back and knocked out of the ballpark to the opposite field. Coming up now with the bases loaded. And Don Cooper, pitching coach for the White Sox, his first year was 2002.
Ooh.
I mean, that's a pretty good tenure as a pitching coach.
Yes, sir. Part of that World Championship team in 2005. Here comes Brawny. Now with 6 homers and 24 RBIs. Had that stretch late April and even in the first couple weeks of May where he hit the ball hard repeatedly, had nothing to show for it, but it's starting to turn around for him here in the last week or so. And a little bloop into right field. And Trace Thompson puts it away, and that'll do it for the Brewers. They leave them loaded. Through an inning in 1/2, 2-0 Milwaukee. Chase Anderson needed just 12 pitches to get through inning number 1. 4, 5, and 6. Daniel Palka, Tim Anderson, and Omar Narvaez here for the White Sox. Debut season in the big leagues for Palka, the DH tonight.
A good changeup right there for Chase Anderson. That is a key pitch for him. Good location down in the zone over the plate. Another one.
Opening day starter for the Brewers, Chase Anderson. Nine in the count, 3-1. You see the shift. Garcia well on the grass. And a walk to Daniel Palka to open up inning number 2. Well, before the game, they had a ceremonial first pitch, and it was a special moment for not just the White Sox, but for baseball, period. Danny Farquhar, who on April 20th, in a game here against Houston, suffered a brain hemorrhage and a ruptured aneurysm. It was very, very serious. There were grave concerns about Farquhar, and now here he is about a month and a half later with a first pitch. Just a great moment here tonight.
The whole team was out there on the field with him, and yeah, good stuff.
There's a double play ball. Arcia gets it started. Tim Anderson gets erased to 6-4-3. Arcia, Perez, Braun. Quickly 2 men out. Yeah, with Farquhar, something like that could happen anywhere, and he's talked openly. There was a Good Morning America today did a piece on him, and the fact he's at the ballpark with the medical personnel there and the quick action. And he said doctors they said this is a miracle, but a lot of very quick and effective work was done. He has said if it was going to happen, it had to be here.
Yeah, well, and hats off to the training staff.
Yep.
The training staff getting the doctors out there quickly, recognizing that this is an emergency, big time emergency situation. These guys are well attended to, I will say that. I mean, Dan Wright and his group, the athletic training staff of the Brewers all over baseball. These guys do thankless work daily. And they saved a young man's life this year.
Yeah, they did. There is no question about that. Narvaez with a little pop up, but Arcia has it covered. And that'll do it. Here, 9 pitches for Anderson. He's needed 21 to get through the first 2 innings.
Thanks to Ryan Braun's 2-run home run in the first. Revisiting the roster move from earlier today, Zach Davies going back on the 10-day disabled list with that right rotator cuff injury. That's the same one that had him on the disabled list for almost a month, the majority of the month of May. And for Davies, he's obviously frustrated to be going back on the 10-day disabled list. He said with the off days coming up, 2 of them next week, he said, and just not coming off of a good start, still not feeling well and recovering well after his starts. He says he just wants to get back to feeling healthy again. So both he and Craig Counsell said they'll give Davies a few days off, but it's not a complete shutdown. He'll continue to play catch. He'll continue to do some strengthening, get some treatment on that shoulder as well. And for Davies, he says, you know, it's frustrating. It's his first time on the disabled list. He prides himself on making his start every time it's his turn to take the ball. So he says it's really just been some lingering soreness in there and needs rest, and they're not concerned that it'll be a major setback for him. They're hopeful it could be the minimum time, and with the off days, they don't need that 5th starter until June 12th. So we'll keep an eye on Zach Davies.
Yeah, that's a key. I mean, I think if they didn't have the off days, you know, Zach might be able to work his way through it, because obviously there was something going on with Davies, because you know, his 2 starts since returning from the disabled list, very unlike Zach Davies. He just doesn't have the command. You know, the pitches weren't coming out of his hand the same way, so yeah, maybe a good thing.
This is where the schedule can be your friend, even with the Brewers on the road again. We know they travel well, but another 3-city trip and a couple of off days, as Sophia mentioned, as Aguilar sends one out to Adam Engel for out number 1. But with the off days, they can keep it to a 4-man rotation, and you can playing in American League competition now for the next 5. You get G-Man Choi, who when he's up here he hits.
Yeah, Can't have too many hitters.
Chase Anderson would agree with that. Give me as much offense as he can. Any pitcher would.
Yeah, think about the Brewers' injuries last year. To their starting rotation, all of them coming, either hitting or running the bases.
Yeah, Chase was one of them as Shaw trying to bunt away from the shift. Sanchez not in time. Well, that was a good effort. Shaw working away from the shift, bunts himself on.
How about Shaw beating out 2 infield hits today? He's not just a home run hitter. You know the White Sox are going to take a look at this. Pushes it down the line beautifully. A little bit too hard maybe, but that's a heck of an effort by Sanchez. Yeah, to make it close. Travis able to beat it.
Yeah, just like we called before the game, Shaw's going to get a couple infield hits.
It's not a bad idea, lefty versus lefty, right?
Absolutely.
They take it if they're going to give it to you. Not necessarily a great idea if there's 2 outs and nobody on, but 1 out.
Which I believe we saw earlier in the week.
And Matt Carpenter.
Yes, sir.
2 outs, nobody on. A 3-0 count. Dropped down a bunt. Interesting decision. He made it. Cardinals ended up not scoring in that inning, but.
I love your line. The game has changed.
Yeah. And we broke out very quickly into a Frank Howard discussion.
Which we all thoroughly enjoyed tuning in hearing that.
Yeah. Shake you like a rag doll. You did that with him around.
You did what?
Yeah.
A ball, a strike to Domingo Santana. Grounded into a fielder's choice in the first and shoots one through here in the third. Shaw turning second, and he'll get the third. Santana with a hustle double.
Boy, very close once again. Boy, the Brewers are getting the calls tonight. That was pretty close. Second base umpire out there, Nick Mahoney out there. Actually, Marley, I'm sorry. Renteria and his staff has already looked at it, and they say play on. A top spin, hot grounder up into center field, and Santana thinking double right out of the box. Kind of stumbles, and that's what made it close.
So a threat here in the third inning. Brewers left him loaded in the second after 3 straight walks given up by Hector Santiago. Got a fly ball off the bat of Ryan Braun, but after a fly ball from Aguilar, a bunt single for Shaw, a double for Santana, and here's Hernan Perez. Perez took a called third strike. The one and only strikeout so far for Santiago. That's in the air, left center field, and room at the track for Engel. Out number 2, but tagging is Shaw. It'll be a sacrifice fly for Perez, and it's a 3-0 lead for Milwaukee.
Yeah, just missed it. Got it down on the trademark a little bit, kept it in the yard. Put a good swing on it, just didn't barrel it up. There you go, that 1-out bunt. Actually got it down on the end just a little bit. And I think Perez knew it right away, but was able to get it out to the warning track.
The bunt single for Shaw, as you might imagine, his first career bunt single. Comes around the sac fly, and here is Manny Pena. Change is in there for strike 1. Brewers doing what any team would want to do against a struggling club. They've jumped on him. 2-run homer for Braun in the first. Pushing across a run here in the third. So the White Sox have lost their last 4 in 6 out of 7.
And they've had a very difficult time in interleague play as well this year.
Just 1 win. to show for their efforts so far this season. 2 strikes and nothing to Pena. They're 1-8 are the White Sox. Well, the Brewers have fared well. We've got a run of 5 of them coming up here in the next few days. Brewers swept Kansas City, a 2-game series, split with the Indians, won 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. Two balls, 2 strikes. Santana the runner at second. These clubs meeting for the first time since 2015. The schedule cycles back in the interleague games against the AL Central. Payoff pitch. Santana's running. Pena fouls it out of play.
And taken off on a 3-2 pitch. Not automatic. There's nobody at first base.
Santiago has already faced several hitters where he has run the count full. Payoff pitch. And he'll need another one against Pena.
And 92, one of his better fastballs in on the hands of Pena that time. He's not afraid to come inside once in a while. You have to when you're not throwing all that hard, especially when you've got that changeup working for you. He's been leaving that pitch up in the zone, though, the changeup.
One more time, ready with the 3-2. And they throw one away, but Santana will be unable to advance.
Tell you, a good throw. That would have been pretty close at second base. Throw way high, no chance to get him. But check it out. I mean, if this is on the bag, it might be pretty interesting over there.
Yeah, you're right. Little favor there to Domingo. 3-2 again. They're running that pitch count up. 70 already for Santiago. Really labored to get through that second inning. You see the 27 pitches. He needed just 6 to get the first 2 outs, and then the wildness hit.
Yeah, 3 walks and then an out. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be a short outing.
Again, the payoff, and that's hit well into center field, but Engel will have room. And that'll do it for the Brewers here in the second. But another run is across. Sacrifice fly from Hernan Perez. 3-0 Milwaukee. 3 in Chicago. Our future is here, and now's the time to own it. The new home of the Milwaukee Bucks opens next season, but now's the time to lock in your seats. Season ticket packages for the 2018-19 season are on sale now, so purchase yours today at foxsportswisconsin.com/events. Little chilly here, mid-50s, but not a bad night to bring your little one to the ballpark. Brewers fans and Sox fans getting along for now.
Yeah, for now.
What year was that big fight? Was that 90s?
Which one? There was a ton of them.
A huge one.
Yeah,
like
on
the Terry
field,
Bevington
right? Yeah, right.
era. Yeah.
Terry Bevington, Phil Garner.
Yeah.
Doug Manzolino. Yeah. Yep, I remember.
That was one of the better ones. Adam Engel leading off here in the 3rd inning.
There was never any love lost between these two teams.
No. It was a good rivalry.
Yep. I remember Doug Manzolino, Phil Garner went at it at 3rd base at Old Comiskey Park. And later on, Phil Garner added Manzolino to his coaching staff in Milwaukee.
Because he's a fighter, I want him.
So I guess bygones would be bygones, right?
Engel hits this well, and that is a fair ball into the corner. It'll be a ground rule double. Bounding up out of play, and it's a double for Engel to start the 3rd.
And Terry Bevington, as manager for the White Sox, he was in the Brewers minor league system as a catcher. Always had a fiery temper. And
oh yeah.
He can get up into somebody's dish really quickly, especially an umpire. That one looked like it bounced right on the line. You know, trying to hook foul, but caught the left field line.
That's the first hit of the night for the White Sox. Here is Charlie Tilson. And he sends that back up the middle. Engel rounding 3rd. And the first run of the night for the Sox. 3-1 the score.
Their first pitch to Tilson after Engel was able to hit a 2-0 pitch down the line and left. Fastball up. Good swing by Tilson to get on top of it and line it into center field. That's the first 2 hitters reach, and the White Sox on the board.
The bottom of the order getting things started for Chicago. Anderson now facing Trace Thompson. And the runner's going. The Sox lead the majors in stolen bases. And there's another one for Chicago as Tilson gets his 2nd of the year.
And Manny Pena didn't even bother. Huge jump and a breaking ball at that.
One and 0 to Trace Thompson. A stop by Shaw. And a bad throw gets by Braun. And into the camera, well, it goes. Tilson will come around to score, and it's a 1-run game.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Braun shouldn't have caught that. And it wasn't a very good throw, and that's surprising because Travis Shaw very accurate with his throws from 3rd base. And it sounded like Braun got leather on it. And just up the line. You're right. It wasn't a very good throw. And Brawny tried but couldn't get a glove on it. That's very unusual. Travis Shaw very accurate with his throws. And that one not even close.
For a team that has been very good defensively here in recent weeks. E5 now has the White Sox within a run. Still nobody out in the 3rd. Top of the order, Yohan Moncada. Made his White Sox debut right around the All-Star break, July 19th last year. Very, very highly regarded young talent. Into center field. That drops in front of Kane. Thompson rounding 3rd. Throw is cut off. Now they have Moncada in a rundown. And Perez will apply the tag, but it's still a run-scoring knock, and this game is tied at 3.
Boy, that was quick.
It sure was.
My goodness. At the bottom of the order, getting some pretty good swings on Chase Anderson. That was a changeup that time. Got it on the end of the bat, but able to dump it into center field. And because Lorenzo Cain hits the cutoff man, we're able to get an out. So another outfield assist for Lorenzo Cain. That's number 7 for him. That leads the big leagues. The benefits of hitting the cutoff man.
Yeah, those little things that aren't so little. 8-3 to 6-4 on the putout of Moncada. And here's Yolmer Sanchez. He sent Santana to a warning track in the first inning. Example of how the ball is carrying here tonight. Off the bat, it had the appearance of a lazy fly ball, but it didn't die until it hit the warning track. 2-strike pitch. There you go. A punch out for Anderson. That's out number 2. First of the night for Chase.
It doesn't take much. I mean, to give up 3 runs in this league, even with a struggling offense. They got ahead of him and throw the fastball up out of the strike zone, and he swung right through it.
Two outs, bases empty for Jose Abreu. In his first 4 years in the big leagues, Abreu has averaged 31 homers. He has driven in on average 102 runs.
So I guess the moral of that story, be careful with him.
Very much so.
Let somebody else drive in the runs.
Face him when the bases are empty, which Anderson is doing right now.
We're late in the game, pitch around him.
"31 years old. Rookie of the year in 2014, an all-star season.
That's a big, strong man at the plate right there. Goodness.
Fills out that uniform a la Frank Thomas. Always, right?
A big hurt.
2 balls, 2 strikes. They've had their share of power hitters here through the years. So carry out of play.
Yeah, Ron Kittle.
Oh yeah,
he can hit some homers.
Their world championship team, Paul Konerko, had a big year. 40 home runs. Jermaine Dye, 30 plus. Yeah, Jim Thome, the White Sox.
Harold Baines.
Oh yeah. Abreu to left field. Yelich, the sliding catch. Ian Kane can make it look easy, but the Sox get 3 here off Chase Anderson. And we start over 3-3 as we move on to inning number 4. third. 3-3 your score here at Guaranteed Rate Field on a chilly night, mid-50s. But a nice clear evening. Good weather expected throughout the weekend here in Chicago.
Not too bad.
No, just a drastic difference from those 80-degree temperatures we had there for about a week or so.
Yeah, it was nice in Milwaukee yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Temperatures, low 80s.
Got a true wake-up call today walking outside by the big lake.
You didn't put your coats away yet, did you?
No. Had to go buy one.
By the way, welcome back. How was your respite?
It was very nice. Very nice. We enjoyed checking in with you. We were up north a little bit. Just kind of kicking back. Watching you and BA banter.
Resting the vocal cords
a little bit.
This road trip.
A little bit, yeah. Getting ready. Want to thank BA for sitting in for a couple weeks. He'll be back. He'll be back for the homestand. He'll be back for a while, by the way, when he gets back for the homestand, starting against the Cubs. Always enjoy the banter, you two.
Yeah.
A ball, 2 strikes to Orlando Arcia. And he shoots one through. There you go. So he has walked and now he has singled.
He's staying back a lot better. I mean, a lot of movement in his swing, his head, his body moving around. And one of the things that the Brewers wanted him to work on down in the minor league, didn't have a whole lot of time to work on it, but you can see not as busy up there at the plate right now. He's kind of dropping the head of the bat on the baseball, and he's been on a couple of times already.
Let's get a little more on what Arcia has been doing. Let's check in with Sophia.
Yeah, I spoke with Orlando before the game, and he was really excited just to come up with that game-winning single when he rejoined the team on Wednesday. He said as soon as he got back, he got into the cage with assistant coach Jason Lane, and he said he just started working on things right away again. He was hopeful to have an opportunity to be able to contribute again right away. And he said that even though it was a short stint for him in Colorado Springs, he said that's what he was trying to do, hit the ball back up the middle and to right field. He said we're just working on seeing better pitches for him to hit and to hit in that direction. So maybe that work paid off here with that last hit.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of good signs of that, Sophia, to working a walk and now the base hit.
And I think just more of a consistent approach up at the plate, a consistent setup. A lot of times, when he's struggling, he's going to have a different approach, a different look to his batting stroke every time he goes to the plate. Sometimes in the middle of an at-bat, he'll switch up, just trying to figure out a way to be comfortable up at the plate. I think a lot of hitters, deal with that. Work on one approach and stick with it for a while.
And maybe we all have to remind ourselves this is his second full season in the big leagues. We got a taste of it 2 years ago, 55 games, called up well into the year. But last year was the first year that he was in the lineup card on a daily basis.
And it was a tremendous year. Got off to a slow start, very similar to the start he got off to this year. And maybe he'll start turning things around now that the page has turned to June.
2 balls, 1 strike to Lorenzo Cain, who has walked twice here tonight. And Santiago cannot locate the strike zone against Cain.
Well, you've got to throw strikes for him. He's not going to help you out.
You work 2 lengthy at-bats or plate appearances. Use the right stat terminology there and draw on those walks. 3-1 pitch.
Yeah, pretty close.
It's the 25th pitch that Cain has seen from Santiago. 3rd time he's faced him here tonight. And he pops this one up. Moncada will call for it. And struggled with it a bit, but maintains his balance for out number 1.
Hey, voting for the 2018 Major League All-Star Game is officially open, and the Brewers are counting on you to stuff the ballot boxes. Go to brewers.com/vote and cast your ballot up to 5 times per day, 35 times total, to help send your hometown crew to the Washington for this year's All-Star game in July.
Well, there's some very viable candidates, a pretty good list.
Right.
That those folks and all their friends can vote for who wear Brewers uniforms. Real strong ones at the plate right now in Yelich. Team with the best record in the National League, and only the Red Sox and Yankees have better marks in the American League. Brewers 36-21 coming into this game against the White Sox. The historic month of May.
Yeah, the Yankees have a better winning percentage, 35-17, but the Brewers have more wins.
Yep. Craig Counsell's team has been able to navigate through a number of injuries. They've been able to get their games in, which is something the White Sox are still playing catch up on. Like they had an entire series wiped out against the Twins. Rain and snow. They got a couple of double headers for Rick Renteria's bunch. Counsell's team with some games, more games played than anyone in the NL Central.
Yeah, Brewers have been very fortunate on the road that they have not had any really bad weather. They played in some trying conditions, but have been able to get the games in. And that in itself is going to help them down the road. They don't have games to make up. They're not going to lose off days or have double headers stacked up.
Yeah, the White Sox are going to have a couple of double headers against the Twins. One a split, one a straight. 3-1 the count to Yelich. Sends this out of play.
A lot of foul balls by the Brewer hitters against Santiago. Just a little tick behind the fastball. All the fastballs really up in the zone. Still another guy that lives up in the strike zone, throwing in the low 90s.
This is the 7th hitter that Santiago has faced where the count has run full. And another walk. That's the 5th one allowed tonight by the left-hander. Runners at first and second with one out of the 4th. We'll get Rick Renteria out to the mound. Has some bullpen activity. Chris Volstad was getting loose in the Chicago bullpen. And he's going to make a move. The big guy, all 6'8" of them. Volstad will be coming in. Brewers threatening. We are tied in the 4th. To you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension. And by Wisconsin Dells, the water park capital of the world. Skyline of Chicago, Illinois on a Friday night. A chilly June 1st here in Chicago. And Chris Volstad, 6'8". 235, big guy on the mound now for the Sox.
Yeah, 17th appearance, and he leads the bullpen for the White Sox in innings. He's struggled as of late. He's given up some runs. Yeah, but Volstad has given up 7 earned runs in his last 11 innings. Yeah, Brewers are hoping that continues.
Yeah, the Indians put some hurt on him, went deep on him a couple of times in that rout on Wednesday afternoon. A 9-1 Indians win. 2 on for Braun now. Chance to break this tie, the 4th. Two-run homer for Brawny in the first inning. Hit a fly ball to right with the bases loaded. That ended inning number 2. Santiago walked, the bases loaded. Arcia single to center. Yelich a walk.
Volstad's got good movement on his fastball. He used to throw pretty hard, but now he's low to mid 90s. Got a good curveball to go with it. He'll throw a cutter at times. He's a big dude, 6'8", as you mentioned.
Yeah, a one-time starter. Time with the Rockies and the Pirates and the Cubs. In fact, he was sent from the Marlins to the Cubs, part of the Carlos Zambrano deal prior to the 2012 season, and he really struggled that year for the Cubbies. 3-12 and an ERA of more than 6. Trying to find a home here in the bullpen. Handful of games last year for Volstad with the White Sox.
Yeah, first year in the big leagues for Volstad back in 08, so he's been around a while.
Don Cooper with his work cut out for him with his White Sox pitching staff. The bullpen has been better overall. The body of work is not going to impress you, but the Sox bullpen since about the 3rd week of April has been much better. A 3.15 ERA. It's among the best in that stretch in the American League.
Yeah, relievers have been much better than the starters.
Aguilar is next. A full count to Braun. 2 on, 1 out. Chopper. Anderson. And the play at second, rather, just in time to erase Yelich. Arcia moves to third. Runners at the corners of 2 out.
Yeah, the result of that big sinking fastball right there for Volstad had Brawny beating it into the ground right in front of home plate. Pretty close play at second base. Good flip by Anderson to get Yelich at second.
So RBI chance for Jesus Aguilar. Home run total starting to mount for the big man. Hit a couple on the homestand, did Jesus. There's that curveball from Volstad.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Doesn't throw it real hard, but he's got pretty good break on it.
First round pick by the Marlins was Volstad back in 2005. Aguilar. Anderson at short. And the Brewers leave a couple of more on here in the 4th. They threaten but do not score. We're through 3 1/2. Still tied at 3.
promoted to Double-A Biloxi. Last night, a career night for him, 5 for 5, 3 runs, 2 homers, 2 RBIs in his final game with the Carolina Mudcats. It was a 7-game hitting streak for him there with Carolina. He was hitting .484 in that stretch. So he's going up to Biloxi. So now the top Brewers prospects, each of the first 4 first-round draft picks from the last 4 years, now all in Double-A in Biloxi. That's a pretty stacked team there.
Yeah, it is. It's a fun note too. Sophia, Corey Ray, Trent Grisham, Cody Medeiros, all a part of that Shuckers roster. That's fun.
Yeah.
And here it can flat hit. Talked about that in spring training. Daniel Palka leads things off. He walked in the 2nd inning. White Sox with a 3-run 3rd, and it was the bottom of the order that got to Chase Anderson. This is hit into right field. Domingo Santana, he lost it, but Kane is there to bail him out. Everybody chill, says Kane. I got this.
I'm telling you, that guy's something else, isn't he? I mean, you see how hard he was running right away. I think he had a sense that Domingo did not see it. You know, twilight right now, the lights haven't really taken full effect, and I don't think he ever saw it. Now Domingo goes over there. You got to put your hands up, Domingo, but it doesn't matter because Lorenzo Cain is never going to be sitting around watching a play. He's always got somewhere to go. That is a big league play right there by Lorenzo Cain.
Another one. Another one of many.
It's going to be an F8, but you know that's basically an F9.
It is.
It was hit the right field.
F8 and F9 territory.
Right.
Tim Anderson down the line and just foul. Anderson just missing, trying to send one past Travis Shaw. Chase Anderson will look to put Tim Anderson away. 2-strike pitch. It's 24 years old, Tim Anderson. Signed a 6-year deal prior to last season. Another one of those club friendly, but makes perfect sense for the player. 6 years, $25 million. Biggest, why say no?
Never turn down your first deal. $25 million, not chump change.
It's not bad. As they say, it beats working for a living.
Man, you know, you gotta wonder. You know, you get a guy like Anderson. I mean, you know, hats off to him for taking that deal. But you wonder, a young kid is offered $25 million and you say no.
That'd be hard to do.
Yeah, that's just bad advice. I mean, from an agent standpoint.
Yeah, that was the biggest deal offered to a player with less than a year of service time in the big leagues. Yeah, the Sox truly believe in him. And the errors were high last year. They're high this season, but he's one of those guys who could play at a number of different positions, but shortstop is his right now.
They'll get better defensively. Do a better job of making contact. But you know, there are far more instances of a young player turning down a deal like that than there are guys accepting it.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Well, you would think now, particularly the way the last offseason went, with some veteran players not getting what they thought, and guys like Tim Anderson, you jump on it as he sends one to Travis Shaw for out number 2. But if it's there and you're a young player, grab it.
It's $25 million.
You could get by.
And if that's all you ever make, you're still in pretty good shape.
You're ahead of the game. Two outs, bases empty here in the 4th. Omar Narvaez.
How long did it take you to make $25 million bucks?
It's going to take several lifetimes. Yeah. Now your other partner here, it might not take as long.
Yeah, he's beyond that already.
He's home counting his money right now.
Right. I mean, it's all relative, right? I mean, people just can't comprehend that kind of money.
No.
You're still working on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. When you get there, let me know. I want to know how it feels.
I don't think I'll be able to talk at that point.
Dare to dream.
Yeah.
Two balls, one strike to Narvaez. A lot of playing time here. Wellington Castillo, an 80-game suspension. Failed tests for a PED. That's a huge hit.
Yeah.
Won't be back until well into August.
Guys are still getting nailed for that.
And that's well struck. Nice pick by Hernan Perez, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Chase Anderson. We're through 4, tied at 3.
All military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Tie ball game as we move to the 5th inning. Brewers fans of all ages making the trip down here to the south side of Chicago. Travis Shaw will lead things off. He has not hit the ball out of the infield, and he is 2 for 2. Getting his first career bunt single in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, don't see him doing it against the right-hander.
He is also pretty good at hitting the ball out of the infield, out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
Powerball home run leaderboard. Shaw at the top of it with 13.
Which is why he won't bunt here. Lefty versus lefty, not a bad idea. That one got a piece of.
Yeah, got Narvaez.
That one got him right on the arm. That's a pretty good movement by Volstad, that two-seam fastball.
A ball is strike to Shaw. Shaw, Santana, and Perez here in the 5th. Another good year in progress for Travis Shaw. First year, last year, outstanding, and following it up very impressively through the first couple of months of this season. Hitters count for him. Remember, Shaw went into the last road trip. Started in Colorado. He was on a 5 for 50 skid and turned things around. Good little work in Denver and a little more throughout that road trip. A couple of big bombs against the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and that's unusual for Shaw. I mean, a stretch like that, I don't think he had a stretch like that last year. Just has such an easy swing, a nice approach up there. You would think it'd be relatively slump proof. I mean, when I talk about slump, we're talking about a 5 for 50 something.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go into one of those, you know, 2 for 20s every now and again, but the way he stays on the baseball and is willing to hit it to left.
This is the 9th full count the White Sox pitchers have faced, and that's walk number 6. Santiago walked 5. And Olstad walked Shaw to start inning number 5. Here's Santana.
And 6 walks and none of them have scored.
Yeah, including in the second inning. The Brewers left the bases loaded. Santiago walked them loaded. Talked a lot this season about the numbers with runners in scoring position. The Brewers had that torrid good stretch in the last homestand. They bumped the number up now to 240. It was low 200s a good chunk of the season for Milwaukee up until recently.
Yeah, before they got hot, they were at 203. Yeah, that's pretty good work. Had a good homestand.
An 8-2 homestand it was after a 7-3 road trip. And much of that, we mentioned it as they were entering that stretch. And they had a little 5-game homestand with the Indians and the Pirates. They were facing a number of teams in the postseason a year ago, and teams that could very well be in it again this year, and fared well against it. A lot of talk about what the Brewers have done against sub-500 teams. They did it against some of the best. Santana with a fly ball, and that is misjudged by Engel, but plenty of time to recover for out number 1. But yeah, Rock, there's a lot was written and said. Yeah, the Brewers were mounting up wins. Look who they're playing. Well, they continue to mount up wins. Look who they're playing.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter who you win, who you beat. I mean, every team has the opportunity to, win a game. You run into a hot pitcher, you get a couple of guys hot against you, and the Brewers, you take away. I mean, everybody's talking about the Cubs. I mean, that's what they're talking about. The Brewers have only won once. First 8 games against. The Cubs, it kind of stings a little bit more when it is the Cubs.
Yes.
But 7 losses out of their 21 against the Northsiders. They've been good against everybody else.
Yeah, just another series win against the Cardinals. They won 2 of the 3 series against St. Louis. Curveball drops in there. Santiago went 3 1/3. That's it.
Narvaez has good skills behind home plate. Very quick feet. He's able to get down, block pitches in the dirt, and jump up quickly. Good opportunity for him to get some playing time.
1-2 to Perez. Chopper to Tim Anderson. There's one. That's it. Perez, the new runner at first with 2 men out.
Hey, it's going to be a jam-packed month of baseball at Miller Park, and with the Brewers ballpark pass, you can guarantee your spot at Miller Park for all 12 Brewers home games in the month of June, all for just $29.99. Lock in your pass today by going to brewers.com/ballparkpass. Great deal.
Yes, it is.
The only deal better than that is our seat.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
These are pretty good seats.
But 12 games for $30. Seriously?
And to see a team that is going to be in the thick of it. Best record in the National League, and as Craig Counsell mentioned earlier in the week, work they put in, it gets them in line to have some fun this summer.
Yeah.
Pena has grounded to first and a fly ball to center.
This is definitely a running situation for Perez.
He has stolen 3 bases in 4 tries. Sanchez inning over. Brewers strand another runner, and we are halfway through this series opener. Tied up in Chicago. Outside of Chicago. Join Fox Sports Wisconsin as we inspire girls to be healthy and confident at the Girls on the Run of Southeastern Wisconsin Spring 5K, presented by Brewers Community Foundation. That's tomorrow at Miller Park. To register, visit Girls on the Run southeasternwi.org/5K. Chase Anderson facing the bottom of the order, and that's the part of the order that got to him in the 3rd inning. Adam Engel, Charlie Tilson, and Trace Thompson. Engel started that 3rd inning with a double. All 3 ended up scoring. Anderson missing with a curve. Engel, 26 years old. Played his college ball at Louisville. His first real taste of the big leagues last year. Played in 97 games, starting most of them. His first 12.5 games were very good, hitting about .320, and then fell off dramatically the rest of the way. Tries to bunt his way on, and he will. Engel starts the 5th inning by reaching against Anderson.
Yeah, you got Travis Shaw playing behind the bag. You see how deep he is, and nice bunt by Engel, who disguises that bunt just until the last second. No play for Shaw.
Here's Charlie Tilson. RBI single to center his first trip.
This is where the problems began for Chase Anderson back in the 3rd inning.
The Brewers in that month of May did a lot of damage with the bottom of the order. Helped win several games. Chase well aware this White Sox team loves to run. They have 48 steals as a team. That's the most in the big leagues. Engel is 8 for 9.
Got a big lead.
Brewers scored 2 in the first. A Ryan Braun 2-run homer. Pushed across a run in the 3rd. The White Sox getting all of their runs in the bottom of the 3rd. Ball, no strikes to Tilson. Runners going. Pena got him. Man, on a line. Arcia is there to apply the tag. My goodness, what a throw.
Yeah, no kidding. And it all starts with the footwork for Manny Pena. He gets his feet in position to throw before the ball's in his glove. I mean, this is incredible quickness for Manny Pena, and the throw right on the money. Straight as a string down to second base. A big lead. Yeah, for Engel, and he is out easily with a perfect throw by Manny Pena. I'm telling you, that is something else. He has got a cannon, and not only does he have a great arm, but he gets rid of it very quickly.
And these Brewers catchers can throw you out.
Yeah.
Pena above the league average himself.
Yep, Jet Bandy in that mix too. He was pretty good.
Jet, by the way, if you missed it earlier, he will be with the AAA Sky Sox. He remains in the organization. That's good. He's got that strong arm and give him a chance to develop.
Yeah, it's all about the offense for Jet. I mean, yeah, he's very solid defensively. Of course, you don't get a whole lot of playing time if you're not hitting. So what comes first, right? Playing time or hits?
Right.
But it's hits and then playing time. That's the way it is at this level.
As you love to say, the bat plays.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Tilson. He's someone with the reputation of being someone who runs well. He's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, has Tilson, but he stole a base in the 3rd inning. And a liner snagged by Travis Shaw for out number 2.
Played him perfectly. Carlos Sabero with that infield defense. Carlos in charge of the shifting defensive alignment. And Travis barely has to move. You know, 1 step and able to make the play.
Two outs for Trace Thompson. His brother Clay had a good night last night. The Golden State Warriors.
Nice article on MLB.com today about Ed Cedar in the outfield. How good the outfield has been. Talking about the cards that they use in their back pockets. Had a lot of fun reading that today.
Yeah, it was interesting. But with Lorenzo Cain, where's your card? Where's your card, right?
He said, don't give it to me too early because I won't bring it to the field. You know, on that card, and Ed Cedar started that many years ago. On that card is where each outfielder should position himself for each hitter that they're facing that night. Eddie started that.
And it's working well.
Yeah, he said in Kansas City, did Lorenzo, said we didn't have cards. Every now and again you'll get a shot of a guy in the outfield pulling it out of his back pocket. Eddie laminates him. I don't know if he does it. He has probably somebody to do it.
Got a guy. The chopper back to Anderson. And that'll do it for the White Sox here in the 5th. We stay tied 3-3 as we move to inning number 6. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lights, great taste at only 96 calories, and by Toyota. Let's go places. Friday night in Chicago, Illinois. Brewers spending the weekend here. First of 3 with the White Sox. Tie game as Orlando Arcia leads off here in the 6th. Good night so far for Arcia. He has walked and singled. Chris Volstad remains on the mound for the Sox. Victor Santiago had a brief start, 3 1/3. Gave up the 3 runs, walked 5, struck out 1. Volstad, we mentioned, a former starter. He has gone 4 innings plus in a couple of relief stints this season. A couple others of 3 or 3 1/3.
Yeah, 3rd inning for him. He's got real good movement on that fastball. Doesn't throw it as hard as he used to. You know, low 90s, but has that good sink. A lot of ground ball outs with him on the mound.
2-2 to Arcia. Back up the middle. It's Tim Anderson. 1 out.
Another ground ball.
He's been effective tonight. His career rate getting ground balls is 50-50, so he's on, and he is tonight.
When again he leaves that pitch up in the strike zone or hangs the curveball, that's when he gets in trouble. Mentioned he gave up a couple of homers last time out.
Top of the order, Lorenzo Cain. Continues to get on base. Abreu. And the feed to Volstad for out number 2. White Sox do have double barrel action in their bullpen, so we'll see how much longer Renteria goes with Volstad. Luis Avilan is the left-hander. Chris Beck also up in the Chicago pen. May get our answer. We will get our answer right now. He wants the lefty. So Volstad does a nice job in relief.
Yeah, no kidding. Surprised they took him out.
Renteria wants to go lefty, I guess, against Yelich. So we will step out. 2 outs, bases empty in a tie game in Chicago. Whitlock. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Central only on FS1. Lefty Luis Avilan now on the mound for the White Sox.
Yeah, check it out. Lefties are hitting him at a 310 clip. They have not hit any home runs. Yeah, Avilan owns a 238 earned run average over his last 15 appearances. Been throwing the ball well.
We will face the left-handed hitting Christian Yelich, and first pitch hacking pops it up to Tim Anderson. And the Brewers are retired in order. We are through 5 1/2 and we stay tied. That's a lot of bombs. These two ball clubs we're watching this weekend can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
That's a lot of bombs.
Yeah, they're talking about the all-time home run record falling this year. American League.
Yeah.
Pretty good chance of it.
Yeah, I think so.
The Yankees.
Got a little bit of thunder there.
They got a few boppers over there, and that's a bandbox, Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, we saw that a little bit last July, right?
Yeah.
Yohan Moncada leading off here for the White Sox, top of the order. The Red Sox and Yankees separated by a game and a half in the American League East. Astros with a one-game lead on the Mariners. Double barrel now in the Milwaukee bullpen. Boone Logan and Matt Albers are up.
One bad inning for Chase Anderson was basically, 4 consecutive batters that gave him a problem.
That is hit out to right field, and securing it is Santana for out number 1. Chase sailed through the first 2 innings. He had just 21 pitches to get through innings 1 and 2, and then the Engel, Tilson, Thompson trio.
Yeah.
One of the runs was unearned. Thompson reaching on an error. Here's Yolmer Sanchez. Dario gave you the update on the Astros Red Sox. Cubs lead the Mets 6-4. They're in the 8th in New York. In the air, and Arcia will take charge. Out number 2. Pirates lead the Cardinals 2-0 in the 7th. What a comeback by St. Louis yesterday. Wow, Jairo Munoz with a walk-off.
Yep. No lead is safe in the big leagues these days.
No.
That's what makes what the Brewers have been able to do late in games so remarkable.
And they have the lead after 6. They are unblemished.
Yeah.
And that is something. When you get past Memorial Day and you're able to make a statement like that.
See these wild comebacks all over baseball.
No strike pitch to Jose Abreu. Well, the Brewers, the last road trip, rallied from 6 down in a game against the Rockies. Council's team trailed 9-3 going into the 4th inning. Just kept punching, chipping away, and then Manny Pena hit that home run to tie it. Travis Shaw, an RBI single in the 10th. One of many come from behind wins for the Brew Crew.
And you can really thank the bullpen for a lot of that. Keeping the opposition off the board, allowing the offense to get going.
Chase Anderson is pounding the strike zone right now. 11 consecutive. 2 strikes and nothing to Abreu. And this is going to fall, a base hit.
Good pitch. It's a big, strong right-handed batter able to muscle it out in the gap. Got in on his hands with a fastball. Not a whole lot you can do about that. You see the way he pulled the hands in. Watch the hips pop open. Hands close to the body. That 93 off the inside corner, but still able to get enough of it. Dump it into the outfield. That's a broken bat for a lot of guys.
It's going to be the last hitter that Chase Anderson will face as a pitching change here in Chicago. 2 outs, 1 on, and we are tied. Hyde, the runner at first, Jose Abreu, his responsibility. And you see the line for Anderson tonight, as he will give way now as Craig Counsell turning to his bullpen and starts with a former White Sox going back about a decade, Boone Logan.
Yeah, statistically the best bullpen in the big leagues, a 245 bullpen earned run average. The Brewers bullpen 17-6 this year. Boone Logan making appearance number 11. His numbers starting to get much better. Velocity starting to perk up a little bit.
Facing Daniel Palka, who has walked and flied to center field. You see the story of Boone Logan. He's with the big club from 06 through 08. Matt Albers, who was with him in the bullpen, also was here in Chicago. And he remains up. 2-0 pitch.
Thank you very much. Swinging at that.
Yeah, bullpen ERA. Those top three, they've just kind of shuffled the deck there. The Brewers, Diamondbacks, and Cubs. That trio has kind of separated itself, at least to this point.
Brewers bullpen with 17 wins. Closest to them, the Mets, 13.
Some amazing work.
Yeah, great. Unbelievable.
I mentioned it a lot, too. Multiple options to pitch multiple innings. A walk to Palka, so now the White Sox with runners at first and second and 2 men out.
Probably see Albers now.
Yes, sir. It will be 1 and done for Boone Logan. The right hand hitting Tim Anderson up next. Counsell will go ahead and make the move. So after Moncada and Sanchez were retired, Abreu a single to left center, Palka a walk. 2 on, 2 outs. Albers coming in for Milwaukee.
The Phillies and the first 20,000 fans at the ballpark will get a mini replica bullpen car complete with rolling wheels courtesy of Quick Trip. Lock in your tickets today at Brewers.com.
With the rolling wheels.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. Nice.
Matt Albers trying to finish things up here in the 6th inning. He is called upon now by Craig Counsell.
Yeah, a little trouble for the Brewers here in the 6th. Anderson able to get the first 2, but a couple of men on, hitting a walk. 22nd appearance. Great numbers for Albers. 108 earned run average.
Abreu at second, Palka the runner at first. Slider in there for strike 1 to Tim Anderson. see he has plenty of pop in his bat with the 11 home runs. In the air to left, and he gets by Yelich, and that's a world of trouble. Abreu is in. Polka is in. Anderson to third. The White Sox have a 2-run lead.
Well, Christian Yelich kind of caught in between right there. Once you can't get to it, your job is try to smother it, which it looked like he tried to do. Yeah, breaking ball had the plate, but it was down a little bit off the end of the bat. Right here, he tries to smother it, goes right under his legs. And once it got by him, 2 runs were going to score. Polka able to score from first. Well, 2 outs, nobody on, and the White Sox able to come up with a couple of runs.
And that goes down as a 2-run triple for Tim Anderson. 5-3 lead now for Chicago. Narvaez at the plate. Brewers grabbed an early 3-0 lead. The White Sox caught him in the 3rd and pull away here in the 6th, now leading 5-3. Close the book on Chase Anderson.
Yeah, tough inning for him. Got the first 2 out relatively easily, and then a jam shot up by Abreu gets taken out, and the White Sox end up scoring a couple of runs. He is at this point the pitcher of record.
4 runs allowed, 3 were earned. A ball, a strike to Omar Narvaez. I mentioned in Brewers Live, this is a trip and a series you're a little leery about. Brewers red hot. White Sox really struggling, but watch sports enough, these kind of series can make you a little bit nervous.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're big leaguers. I mean, they are young and, you know, inexperienced, and they're hungry. You make mistakes, you're going to pay for them. The Brewers have had multiple opportunities to put more runs on the board, but have not been able to do it.
It's a real tough month of May, as you can see, for the White Sox. They were thrilled to see the calendar turn.
Brewers, on the other hand, wish it was May all year. 19 wins in May.
A record month of May for Council's team.
But that's in the rearview mirror. Nobody thinking about that right now. We're in June.
2 balls, 2 strikes. That's hit well, but it's foul. Well, we've talked too about this bullpen and how good it's been, but it's a pace that's just unrealistic. I think it could go on and on. Cardinals actually did a little work on Wednesday against Jeremy Jeffress. Albers giving up a 2-run triple to Tim Anderson in the 6th. Full count now to the White Sox catcher. Pitch number 8 of the at bat. And it's through, a run scoring single. 6-3 Chicago.
Yep, second 3-hit inning for the White Sox. It's been a series 2 different times, 2 different innings where they have been able to put together 4 consecutive batters. 3 hits and a walk. Plates 3 runs here. There was 3 hits and an error in the 3rd inning.
And here's Adam Engel. A double and an infield single for the center fielder tonight. That is hit sharply to Hernan Perez, and finally the inning is over. The first two were retired, 4 straight reach as the White Sox grab the lead as we move to the 7th.
As we head to the 7th here in Chicago, and to add another layer to the I-94 rivalry and help raise money for a good cause, the spouses of the Brewers and Cubs players will face off in the first ever Brewers-Cubs Wives Softball Challenge coming up on Tuesday, June 12th. The ticket packages will include a ticket to both the softball game in the afternoon and the Brewers-Cubs game at Miller Park that evening, and a portion of the proceeds will be donated to the Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities program. So you can learn more at brewers.com/theme nights.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Joakim Soria now on the mound for Chicago. This team has a 3-run lead as Ryan Braun helicopters the bat. Protective netting coming in handy again.
White Sox don't want to give it up. Oh, there it is. Took him a while to get it back.
So you got to come and get it.
I said, Ryan, can you sign this? That'll save a couple of bruises.
We have seen a lot of flying bats this year. Fortunately, over his head. Braun, Aguilar, and Shaw for Milwaukee in the 7th inning. Brewers have 16 come from behind wins this season. See if they have number 17 in them tonight. Check out Braun's night at the plate, presented by Wendy's. A 2-run homer in the 1st inning. Fly ball to right in the 2nd, but into the fielder's choice in the 4th. Two-time All-Star Joakim Soria. Curve has Braun swinging and missing, 2-2.
Good breaking pitch. Look at the size of the break on it. Ends up right on the outside corner, the curveball.
Soria gets Braun looking. Out number 1.
Two-seam fastball after the curveball. Just does catch the inside corner. Barely. Narvaez didn't help make that look like a good strike. Didn't catch it very well.
Soria gets the call, and out number 1 for Jesus Aguilar. Looking for his first hit.
Soria's recorded 4 saves for the White Sox. They don't have one of those lockdown closers. It's more or less where they are in the lineup. Rick Renteria used a couple of guys to close out games.
Yeah, Nate Jones is another option. Soria was a terrific closer a couple of years with the Royals, 40+ saves in all-star seasons back in 08 and 2010. Did a couple of Tommy John surgeries. He was with the Rangers, and in 2014 was shipped to the Tigers. It was a deal that involved Corey Knebel at the time. Slow curve as Aguilar down on strikes. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, when he gets that one close with 2 strikes, I mean, he can be tough. Key is, look at the size of that break, 71 miles an hour. Almost a gravity ball.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Joakim Soria in the 7th. Here's Shaw. Infield single, bunt single, and a walk. And it's 0-2. Brewers had a chance to bust this open in the 2nd inning. 3 walks from Santiago, bases were loaded. Ryan Braun, a fly ball to right to end the threat. Mention all the walks that the White Sox have given up, they have not come back to haunt them. 5 from Santiago, and Volstad gave up 1. Brewers have stranded 8 so far.
Yeah, walked 6 guys. The Brewers have only been able to come up with 5 hits.
And it will stay that way as Tim Anderson takes care of that ground ball, and Soria retires the Brewers in order. Stretch time in Chicago. The White Sox up by 3.
Series between Oakland and Kansas City, and Athletics first baseman Matt Olson is making Ian Kennedy pay tonight. He has homered twice off of him. The first one in the 2nd inning, a home run to right, and then again in the next inning in the 3rd, a home run to center. Both of those off of Ian Kennedy. That second one would give the A's a 7-0 lead. They currently lead that one 9-0 in the 8th. Olson is 3 for 4 on the night with 4 RBIs.
And Sophia, thanks. And the A's a game better than 500. Dan Jennings now on the mound for the Brew Crew.
And 3rd reliever by Craig Counsell here tonight. Logan Albers, now Jennings. 27th appearance for Dan Jennings, 3-1, a 245 earned run average. He's been outstanding out of that Brewers bullpen.
He spent 2.5 seasons with the White Sox. Was traded to Tampa Bay just before the non-waiver deadline last year. Facing Charlie Tilson. Tilson, Trace Thompson, Yoan Moncada here for the White Sox in the 7th inning. To the count. Jennings was very good with the White Sox back in 2 seasons ago. Pitched to a 2.08 ERA in 64 appearances. You're going to bounce it with the bases empty.
Yeah, and bounce it without hitting anybody. Namely your catcher.
Yeah, Manny Pena has taken enough. He got battered on that last road trip.
Yes, he did.
Here's the 1-2. Slider missed.
Down in front. Down in front.
8, 9, and 1 hitters in the order for the White Sox in the bottom of the 7th. And there's a strikeout to begin the home half of the 7th for Jennings.
Hey, it's time for tonight's Tower of the Game winner. It's Sandlots in Salem if they call the Brewers by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. They get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. You know, Salem just on the Wisconsin side of the border between Wisconsin and Illinois.
Oh yeah,
not too far from here.
Could have stopped there on the way down here. Maybe on the way back.
Well, it's not that far. We can go tonight.
Yeah, we could. Night is young. Here's Trace Thompson. It's a part of that 3-run third for the White Sox. Thompson was a White Sox draft pick in 2009. He was involved in that 3-team deal after 2015 with the Reds and the Dodgers. Involved Todd Frazier. Reds got Jose Peraza and Scott Schebler. Thompson was a part of all of that. To right field and a base hit. And Thompson's thinking two with reason. A 1-out double.
Well, fastball up and away. Actually, slider didn't do a whole lot. I think it was a slider. Just kind of serves it down the line. He got it down on the handle a little bit. And dumps it in front of Santana. And once again, another guy with some pretty good speed. Thompson able to get into second base.
Some hitters with very low batting averages doing some damage here tonight. There's Yoan Moncada. Moncada part of that 3-run third, run scoring single. Gives him 20 RBIs.
And Craig Counsell right from the beginning very confident in Jennings' ability to get left-handers and right-handers out. Really willing to leave him out there for an inning plus.
And ahead of the count, a ball, 2 strikes to Moncada.
Yeah, there's that slider, 82 down and in. You know, actually, Thompson hit a fastball. Well, equally good from, you know, getting out right-handers and left-handers.
Even the plate appearances split almost right down the middle. Here's the 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes to Moncada. Yolmer Sanchez is on deck. There's a bouncer to Perez. That's out number 2 as Thompson moves to third. Sanchez to the plate. Hitless in 3 trips. Last season, his best so far with the White Sox. Sanchez hit .267, drove in 59 runs. Sends that out of play for strike 1.
Well, this is certainly the guy you want. You got Abreu on deck. You don't want to mess with him. Although Craig Counsell has activity down in that Brewers pen. If it gets to Abreu, you're not going to see Jennings out there.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. The chopper up the line, a foul ball. There's Jacob Barnes getting ready. He's recalled from AAA on Sunday. Two strikes and nothing to Yolmer Sanchez with Trace Thompson the runner at third. Good block by Pena.
Yeah, come to expect that, but not only does he block it, but he's able to keep it close. See the way he kind of cradles that baseball with his arm. Stays right in front of him.
Here comes the 1-2. Six runs on 8 hits for the White Sox. They have stranded 4. Now the 2-2. In the hole, and it's 7-3. Oh, those 2-out RBI hits. The Brewers bullpen has been so good for so long. Getting touched up here a little tonight.
Yep. He's able to get one in on his hands, but fights it off into left. Badger Mutual Insurance run of the game for the White Sox. Well, the White Sox have been really good with runners in scoring position tonight. Now 5 for 7.
Yeah, get it done with 2 outs. That's 4 runs. Driven home with 2 men out. 3 in the 6th, and now 1 more in the 7th. Here's Abreu. So grounded to short and hit a fly ball to left. Slider missing to even the count. White Sox getting the big hits here tonight.
Well, they have certainly taken advantage of every opportunity that they've had tonight. Brewers have had those same opportunities, haven't been able to cash in. White Sox 5 for 7 runners in scoring position. And Brewers 0 for 4.
Brewers scored the first 3 runs of the game. Jennings loading up for the 1-2 pitch to left field, and that's trouble. Sanchez on his way to third. Stop sign is up. It's a double for Jose Abreu. The third out is very, very elusive.
Yeah, and now you got the left-hander coming up. And he figured Jennings is going to stay out there. And this slider that got a little too much of the plate. Abreu with a good swing on it, rips it down the line. White Sox have their hitting shoes on tonight.
They really do. 10 hits now for Chicago.
Looking pretty good at the plate.
Here's Palka. Drawing a couple of walks. A double for Abreu, just continuing the doubles parade that he's putting on. He had 15 of them in the month of May. Just a struggle tonight for the Milwaukee Pen. Two balls, no strikes. Sanchez a single, Abreu a double. Two-0 pitch to Palka. Into the shift, and nothing Perez can do. One run is in, throw to the plate, and an easy tag to Abreu to end the inning. But Sanchez scores, and it's another big inning for the White Sox as we are through 7. The lead is 5 for Chicago. Brewers, and you know, when they win, they're really good, and when they don't, they scuffle. And the differences are pretty dramatic here for this club.
Yeah, the differences are dramatic, but I think every team can pretty much say the same thing. You're not hitting, you're not pitching when you lose. But that is pretty dramatic for a team that has won as many games as the Brewers, 36-21, their record, and it is a dramatic difference.
You figure the number of shutouts, obviously, it really factors in there, but yet through it all, the Brewers are 36-21. A rough night here tonight as the White Sox getting a lot done with 2 men out. Bruce Rondon now on the mound for Chicago.
And 19th appearance, Rondon. A .450 earned run average. You can see the strikeouts are there. 23 strikeouts, 8 walks in 18 innings. Has not allowed a homer.
The last 9 Brewers have been retired. The last to reach was Travis Shaw, who walked to lead off the 6th inning. It has been quiet ever since. Just 5 hits for the Brewers. The ball, 2 strikes to Domingo Santana, followed by Perez and then Manny Pena. There is out number 1 in the 8th.
Well, got ahead, then he went with the breaking pitch. A good slider off the corner, and Santana can't get a piece of it.
27-year-old from Venezuela, originally signed with the Tigers back in 2007. Just all of 2014. Tommy John surgery. In fact, didn't go back to the second half of the following year. Signed a free agent deal with the White Sox back in February. Bruce Rondon, the 4th out of the bullpen tonight for Rick Renteria. First 3 have been good. Perez to Tim Anderson. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Well, let's check out Miller Lite. What's on tap? Second game of the series coming up tomorrow afternoon. Yolis Chassin on the mound, and James Shields gets the call for the White Sox. Our coverage will start with Brewers Live at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. Two outs, bases empty for Manny Pena. Chris Volstad, Luis Avilan, Joaquin Soria, now Bruce Rondon. Throwing up a lot of zeros here for the White Sox. A strikeout of Santana, a ground ball from Perez. Greg Gibson, the crew chief, first base umpire, saying Pena did in fact check his swing.
Pretty good running fastball at 96. And watching that fastball, kind of a short armor, doesn't really follow through a whole lot, kind of stops his delivery a little bit. That gives him the movement. Yeah, but 96 with that kind of run, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the book on him, part of it was he was a guy who could get it into the triple digits, working his way through the minor leagues. And a 2-out walk to Manny Pena. That is walk number 7 given up by White Sox pitching tonight. The first 5 came from Hector Santiago. And here is Orlando Arcia. He is the last Brewer with a hit. Led off the 4th inning. White Sox have gotten a lot done with 2 outs. See if the Brewers can generate a little something in the 8th inning. Is Rondon having trouble locating the strike zone?
Yeah, a couple more walks and then maybe somebody get a hold of one here. White Sox bullpen starting to get busy.
There's Jace Fry up for Chicago. 2-0 pitch. A walk in the 2nd, a single in the 4th for Arcia. Grounded to short his last time up in inning number 6. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Pretty good breaking pitch right there. Had Arcia out in front. And the 2-0 pitch was out of the strike zone. Then the 2-1 pitch also out of the strike zone. Those are the kind of things that the Brewers are hoping that he'd clean up a little bit. Pitch recognition.
The 2-2. Oh, a full count to the shortstop. Lorenzo Cain hoping to have a little traffic here in the 8th. Way up pitch on the way. That'll do it for the Brewers in the 8th. So a walk and a couple of strikeouts for Rondon. It remains 8-3 White Sox. Brewers. 8-3 lead for Chicago. Tim Anderson, Omar Narvaez, and Adam Engel for the Sox in the 8th. Anderson, a 2-run triple his last time up in the 6th. Now he is facing Jacob Barnes, who's on the hill for Milwaukee.
Yeah, 257 the earned run average, averaging a strikeout per inning. And we last saw Jacob on the mound on Tuesday at Miller Park against the Cardinals. A 3-up, 3-down inning. Called up on Sunday from AAA.
A short stay down there, trying to get things straightened out with the cutter specifically. I was telling Sophia the side sessions were really beneficial for him at AAA. Strong as a bull and a hard thrower. In the air to right. Hangs up there for Santana. 1 out.
Yeah, Jacob got sent down on May 11th. Called up on Sunday, working on some things. Numbers were good, but his last couple of appearances before getting sent down, he was giving up some hits. The cutter was a bit inconsistent. Brewers asked him to go down there working on it. His first couple of outings have been pretty good.
Be that workhorse out of the bullpen last year. It had a great run to start the year. Very effective run to end the year. Here's Narvaez. An RBI single in the 6th. White Sox with 11 hits here tonight.
6 of them with men in scoring position.
Yeah, 6 for 8. I mentioned earlier they've stranded 4. That is inaccurate. They've only left 2 on base tonight.
Right.
Brewers have stranded 9. Jacob Barnes, the 4th man out of the bullpen for Milwaukee. Boone Logan, Matt Albers, Dan Jennings preceded him. Back up the middle. Arcia out number 2.
Almost hit the leg, almost hit second base.
Yeah, it did. I thought for a moment it clipped Barnes, but Arcia stays with it.
Not often you try to get hit by a ball up the middle. Arcia able to handle it and get the out.
Going for the kick save.
Most of us are jumping out of the way.
Yes. 2 up, 2 down. Barnes now faces Adam Engel. Good night for Engel. A couple of hits.
And bottom of the order for the White Sox has been pretty good. 5 hits.
4 runs scored. How many times did we say that in the last, maybe even going back to some games in April, but certainly in May with the Brewers batting order. The bottom of it doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. Yeah, the bottom of the American League batting order is going to look a lot better than National League, obviously. Numbers, you would think, anyway,
right,
with the DH
in
place.
theory.
Pitchers pretty much are considered pretty close to an automatic out in the National League. They get a couple of at bats.
Two balls, 1 strike. Barnes versus Adam Engel, the center fielder. There's that good fastball as he elevates.
Not often he's not in the mid to upper 90s. That one up out of the zone. It's the cutter. That's the key to his success.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
That pitch right there, good pitch. It's got something on it. A little bit of movement going away from a right-hander as it gets to the hitting zone.
That is nasty when he has that working for him.
Yeah.
Full count to Engel. will do it. Barnes retires them in order. Brewers need a very big 9th inning, down by 5. White Sox lead the Brewers. The White Sox bullpen has been very effective here tonight. And Nate Jones will look to finish this one off.
Yeah, 4 for 6 in saves, which this is not a save opportunity. The White Sox have a 5-run lead. 22 strikeouts, 20 in the 3rd innings. He's allowed only 2 home runs and a .310 earned run average. White Sox looking for win number 17 on the season.
Yeah, you heard that right. Looking for win number 17 on the season. But they have looked good tonight. Enzo Kane leading off. A couple of walks for Kane tonight.
That is a very unorthodox delivery that Jones has got going out there.
He is.
That looks like a delivery that could be rather tough on the elbow. Kind of takes the ball out, lifts his arm straight up, and then just kind of flings it.
Narvaez took that off the mask, I think. They're going to give him a moment or so.
That could be a little disruptive to a hitter. That kind of move and that kind of delivery, very unique. That one right off the shoulder.
Two strikes and nothing to Kane.
90-mile-an-hour slider.
Jones had Tommy John surgery back in 2014. And then last year he appeared in just 11 games and needed season-ending surgery in July. It was needed to alleviate scar tissue building up after the Tommy John surgery.
Well, the delivery could be tough on that elbow.
Yeah.
I just got done saying.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. This is popped up. Moncada for out number 1.
But you know, that's what makes him effective. The unorthodox delivery. Tough on a hitter. You see him once in a game. That puts a lot of stress on that elbow.
One out here in the 9th for Christian Yelich. Brewers have not had a hit since Orlando Arcia's leadoff single in the 4th. Whistles back to the backstop. Nate Jones, 32 years old, 5th round pick by the White Sox back in 2007.
Tommy John surgery hasn't affected his velocity at all.
No, it hasn't. It's it up there upper 90s with regularity.
Yeah, good slider. But as usual, I mean, as with every pitcher, if you're not throwing strikes, getting ahead in the count, you're going to get hit.
And a 4-pitch walk to Yelich. 1 out, 1 on in the 9th.
Eight walks. Not often you win games walking 8 batters.
There's Ryan Braun. He got the Brewers started tonight, a 2-run homer. Brewers led 3-0 through 2.5. White Sox tied it in the 3rd, took the lead for good in the 6th. Here's how the night started, though. Pretty promising note against Hector Santiago. A no-doubter with 5 miles per hour off the bat. Number 6 of the year for Braun.
Yeah, the Brewers had a 3-0 lead in this game. 8 unanswered runs by the White Sox.
A chance for the Crew to bust it open perhaps an inning later. 3 straight walks. But with those bases loaded, Ryan Braun flied out to right field. It's a bouncer to Moncada. Anderson for 1, and that's all they'll get. No, 2 outs. Braun the runner at first. Down to its final out.
Good job by Yelich not running into an out.
Here's Aguilar. Average dipping below 300 as he rips one just foul. Couple of ground balls, a fly ball, and a strikeout for Jesus Aguilar tonight. Braun is running, defensive indifference. Takes away the force. A ball, a strike to Aguilar. Oh, he's nasty.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pitch right there. My sentiments exactly. That last slider.
They haven't had much to cheer about at the south side, but they're standing right now 2-2 to Jesus Aguilar. Just a 5-hit night here for Milwaukee. Nate Jones trying to finish this one off. 2-2. Yelich was the player of the month for the Brewers in May, but you could make an argument for Aguilar as well. Some big numbers in the month of May. And he works Jones to a full count.
Has been a very good two-strike hitter this year with men on base.
Shaw on deck. Brewers have stranded 9 runners here tonight.
Fans getting impatient. They want some fireworks. I mean, literally.
Yeah, they will have that.
Fireworks night.
That's right. And they'll get their fireworks as Aguilar goes down swinging, and the White Sox take the first game of the series. Their losing streak is snapped at 4 games. Brewers fall for just the 22nd time this year. Had a chance to break it open early. They didn't do it, and the White Sox went to work, scoring 8 runs after the Brewers had the early 3-0 lead. Sox take the opener 8-3. Let's send it to Dario Melendez, ready to go with Brewers Live.